Thank you so much for once again tuning into a chilled guitar review with me, your boy, Jimmy. I have been hotly anticipating creating this video for you and getting this guitar in my hands, not only because it's a Jackson and I thoroughly enjoy the Jackson brand. You can go back and look at my reviews of the Modern Ash Dinky and a Slime Green V to illustrate that point, but also because this is, I suspect, probably one of the most controversial product launches that Jackson has had in quite some time. And so let's crack straight on with this chilled review of the brand new for 2023 Jackson Pro Plus DKA. Now the Pro Plus line is brand new from Jackson for this year. It comprises a whole selection of traditional Jackson body shapes, but with updated specs, new colours and finishes, that type of thing. Price point wise, it's kind of upper mid-range, so the bulk of the Pro Plus line is around about £1,000. This guitar generally is retailing for about £1,000 at the minute, although after receiving this guitar I did spot online that a couple of places in the UK are retailing this for the $949 price point. Now, why do I feel this guitar has the potential to be controversial? Well, Jackson have never released a guitar at this price point that is manufactured in this country being China. Many members of the guitar playing community feel very strongly about where their instruments should be made, and you will still find plenty of people these days who will not buy a guitar purely based on its country of origin. So yes, this is a £1,000 Chinese Jackson, but me personally, that isn't something that would put me off. I say that because, you know, my experience with musical instruments has been that all these overseas factories, most of them will make something as well as you pay them to make it. You know, certainly the cheaper down the scale you go, the more inconsistent the quality is. But that's not to say that China and certainly Indonesia are not capable of producing exceptionally good instruments that are as good as they should be for the price point. So for your £1,000, what are you getting? Well, first of all, let's all put our party hats on and blow some corks out of some champagne bottles. We get a gig bag with this guitar. Yes, we all know how strongly I feel about expensive instruments only coming in cardboard boxes. I am so happy to say that this guitar comes with a gig bag, and it's really quite a nice gig bag. It's quite thick, it's quite well padded. Big thumbs up from me on that point. Overall, the specs of this guitar are entirely appropriate for £1,000. So we have a proper Floyd Rose 1000 tremolo system. We have a proper pair of Seymour Duncan humbuckers, complete with coil split feature. We have a 5-piece neck that is apparently hand oiled, according to Jackson's website. I don't really know what difference that makes, but they make a point of saying that. We have proper lumen lay side dots. We have proper stainless steel jumbo frets. And Jackson were even kind enough to include a set of strap locks in with the gig bag that comes with this guitar. Now, the only slight disappointment, probably spec-wise, with this thing is the fact that it just doesn't have locking machine heads. It just has the kind of cheapy die-cast ones that you would get on anything down to a £200-300 Jackson instrument. You may argue that locking machine heads maybe are not necessary with a guitar fitted with a tremolo system, but they just make string changes so much quicker and cleaner. And certainly I am starting to see them as something that people expect, really. Certainly a price point over kind of £600-700. They're becoming a lot more commonplace now, especially on kind of metal and rock focused guitars. This particular DKA model is available in a couple of different finishes. red, black, all the usual stuff, or this example, which is indigo blue, which is a fantastic color. When I unboxed this guitar, the color just popped. It's really, really bright. I actually thought when I ordered this guitar that it was a flat colored finish, like a solid, but it's actually metallic. There is a metallic flake to this, and this guitar pops under any kind of light. The matching headstock, a very nice touch. I really like this color. I would really like to see this color on a Jackson King V. Wouldn't that be something? Now, normally at this point in the video, we talk about ergonomics, but I think with this particular guitar, I'm going to tweak my format a little bit, and let's go straight into build quality. As I said, this is a £1,000 Chinese Jackson, something that has never existed before. Now, some of you may balk at the prospect of spending that kind of money on a Chinese-made instrument, and I can completely understand why. But look, the proof is in the pudding. So, how is this thing built, right? Is this as good as an Indonesian or a Korean instrument? In some ways it is, in other ways it really isn't. Straight away when I unboxed this guitar and I pulled it out of its wrapping, there's two things I always do. I run my hand up and down the frets, and I flip the body right over and I look at the quality of the finishing with the cavities and the selector switch. And unfortunately, I was disappointed when I unboxed this guitar. This guitar has what I can confidently say are the roughest pickup cavities I have ever seen on an instrument I've reviewed for this channel. At any price point, both the neck and the bridge pickup cavity have very roughly finished edges. So first of all, they're not straight, they're not cut straight or painted straight. There is also paint chips around both neck and bridge cavities, clearly finishing problems. On the neck cavity, you can actually see that some of the paint imperfections have been touched up. So clearly some QC at factory level has happened, and they've attempted to kind of touch it in and make it kind of retail worthy. But look, these are just shoddy pickup cavities. On a similar note, the cavity for the tremolo also had a paint chip at the corner and another paint chip on the treble side of the tremolo, which again I can see has been just touched in because it's missing its gloss layer. It's probably just been touched in with a toothpick or something at the factory. On the rear of the guitar, unfortunately, there was also quite a large paint chip on one of the bolt recesses for the bolt-on neck. So cosmetically, this thing is disappointing. It's rough. Everything I'm finding fault with has occurred at factory level, in my opinion. You know, this is like a brand new guitar. I mean, it had been played clearly when it came to me, but I sourced this guitar as a paying customer, completely anonymously. You know, this isn't a review instrument, nothing like that. And I was very happy with the service from the retailer. But look, this example, just based on what I've told you so far cosmetically, this should be a B stock because it's really rough in places. The other issue that was immediately apparent to me, and again may open up a debate in the comments section, is this guitar has stainless steel frets, and with guitars that are kind of toward the more affordable end, I prefer if they just come with nickel frets, because this guitar has the problem that I regularly encounter with cheaper stainless steel fret jobs, which is they're just like sandpaper out of the box. These frets need a damn good polish, and no doubt you could improve the situation with half an hour's work, some auto sol and a microfiber cloth, but out of the box, this guitar's frets are like, you know, fretting over sandpaper. And I've tried to capture a little bit of audio for you just so you can hear how rough things are around the kind of 10 to 12th fret. Can you hear that? Listen. Generally, I find that if a guitar comes with nickel frets, I don't encounter this issue, probably because nickel is just a softer, easier material to polish. In terms of the fret job itself, they're not sharp, they are nicely rounded. they are probably sitting just slightly more proud of the fretboard than I would like. There is just a touch more overhang than I would probably like to see, especially on something that has white binding. Other than that, the fret job is really quite nice. It's really quite level. I appreciate the fact that these are jumbo sized and not extra jumbo. I personally find extra jumbo frets are just overkill, and medium sized stainless steel frets are actually my preference. Build quality wise, this guitar has finishing issues, like QC issues. There's nothing I've encountered that's like making it unfit for purpose. It feels like a very bright, snappy, resonant guitar to play. It's really enjoyable. The tremolo system functions really well. Tuning stability is about as good as you could expect from a Floyd Rose, which is not amazing, to be fair, if you're really going to town on the whammy. You know, you're going to have to tune at least between songs, but it's really quite good. In terms of playability and overall feel, you know, the build quality is good. It's as good as it should be for this price point. Unfortunately though, cosmetically this thing is very shoddy for £1,000 quid. Now, ergonomically, this guitar is based on Jackson's dinky shape, which is slightly smaller than what a kind of regular super strat shaped guitar might be. Certainly their soloist model is slightly bigger. Body thickness is very, very thin. I really appreciate the fact that as well as having belly carves on the rear of this guitar actually has an arched top to it. So the guitar top kind of does this as it goes towards the edges. It just sits against your body so flat, and it's so easy and falls into the hand so naturally. Equally, the neck is a compound radius Jackson profile neck. Very, very thin C is how I would describe this neck. Some manufacturers will sell you a guitar with a thin C, but it's actually like very thick. It's like nothing like a thin C particularly. Schecter can do this quite a lot, but this is a proper thin, proper compound radius shredder's neck. I really appreciate the way they've done the neck join with this guitar. It's super recessed. It's absolutely perfect for you lead players out there. And weight-wise, despite the fact this has the heft of a Floyd Rose tremolo in it, this thing comes in extremely light, and I think that's probably due to some of the materials used and the thinness of this body. The bodywood itself is a Kume. Very honestly, I have no knowledge about this wood when it comes to guitars. Tonally, I can certainly say that it's very bright sounding. There's certainly none of the kind of mahogany muddiness that you can sometimes encounter. Now, as I mentioned, this guitar has a proper pair of Seymour Duncan pickups. In the bridge, we have a JB TB4, and in the neck, we have a 59 SH1N. And very gratefully, there is the inclusion of coil taps. So you have a 5-way selector, and in between the standard 3 positions, you have a bridge coil tap and a neck coil tap. Now, the inclusion of the coil split feature is a welcome one, but I did find the coil splits on these to just be a little bit too thin sounding, and there is just maybe a touch too much of a drop in volume. You're always going to have some type of volume loss with coil splits on any pickup model, but they were just a little bit too thin for me to really want to use them regularly. If you'd like an example of what a great coil split sounds like, check out my review of the Ormsby Hype GTR from last month. That had a very similar setup, and the coil splits on that sounded lovely. I am personally of the opinion that you can't really ever go wrong with a set of Seymour Duncan pickups. Regardless of which model throughout the range you have, I just don't think they make a bad sounding pickup, and certainly nothing that is kind of so extreme that it could divide people. What I would say about these pickups is certainly they're hot, they have plenty of output, but to my ears, these pickups are voiced probably more for rock than for metal. There is a lot of top end, there's a lot of sizzle in a good way with these pickups. I'm finding them to be less scooped than a lot of metal pickups are. That's not to say that I haven't managed to bang out some good metal riffs on this thing with these pickups, but all I would say to you guys considering purchasing this is these are probably more geared towards rock than metal. Other than that, these pickups are just business as usual for Seymour Duncan. Very smooth sounding, articulate. There's a real pleasing quality to the way the high frequencies roll off, particularly with the neck pickup. I think as an overall package, this is a very rock-focused guitar. This thing is set up for rock, and it does that job so well. The combination of the very light body, the very snappy, bright sound of this guitar, those nice, hot and sizzly Seymour Duncan pickups, and that Floyd Rose 1000 tremolo system. I really see this as potentially a kind of function band guitarist's dream. So, for example, I have a friend who plays wedding gigs quite regularly, and they have a set list of classic rock songs. I can totally see this being the choice for a guitarist such as that. Now, the only thing that could maybe hold that back is the QC problems, man, and they're so annoying because otherwise this guitar just does an exceptional job. The fact this is made in China probably means that Jackson are selling it about 200-300 quid cheaper than they would otherwise have to if it was made somewhere like Korea or Indonesia. I really wanted this guitar to be good. As a comparison, if you check out my review of the Epiphone Extura, that's also a Chinese-made guitar from a very big brand, Epiphone. That thing was superb, and I could not recommend it enough. The example I had absolutely no build issues really at all, and the package it delivered for the price was just like unparalleled really. But I have to say, overall, for £1,000, I wish this guitar was just finished better than it is. Now, what do you guys think? £1,000 Jackson made in China? Is that straight away a no for you? Or would you give this thing a chance? Do let me know what you think in the comments below. If you've gotten this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Please do like and subscribe to the channel because it really helps me and it really encourages me to work hard and keep producing these videos for you guys. Better yet, you can buy me a coffee and financially support the channel. Even if it's just £1, £2, it is gratefully received, and it really does give me a boost of motivation to keep hammering away at these videos for you. I am so excited to announce that I am going to be giving away a guitar for free in time for Christmas. I am going to be giving away an Ibanez RG42FM, which was last year's choice as the perfect beginner's guitar. Entry to the competition will be free, so do keep your eyes peeled because throughout November I am going to be posting videos and I'm going to let you guys know how you can enter the competition. One of you lucky viewers is going to have a brand new guitar in time for Christmas. Until the next chilled review, do take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon.